A billionaire sees his poor maid feeding disabled people on a rainy street corner, using her tiny salary and leftover food she secretly packs from his mansion. And in that moment, this billionaire sees a kindness money could never buy. But he keeps watching silently from his tinted Rolls-Royce, stunned that a poor maid with nothing is giving everything. Why would a poor maid risk her job to feed disabled strangers? What painful story made her kindness so powerful? And what shocking thing will this billionaire do next for her kindness that will change both their lives forever? Ethan Ward never believed in miracles, only calculations. Billionaire tech founder, Forbes cover face, a man who bought buildings the way others bought groceries. Yet this morning, as the sun bled gold across the skyline, his chest carried a strange heaviness. His mansion was silent, polished, perfect, yet hollow, like the marble hallways swallowed sound. Success, wealth, power, he had drowned himself in all of it, but still he woke today feeling empty, like life owed him something it refused to explain. "Good morning, sir." Maria spoke softly, her eyes down, always respectful, always ready. She wasn't like the other staff. No pretending, no fakeness, no greed lingering behind her eyes. Just quiet dignity wrapped in worn clothes and gentle hands. Ethan hardly looked up. "Schedule for today?" She listed meetings, calls, appearances, charity board gatherings he funded but never attended. He nodded, distracted. Only when she turned away did he truly look at her. A small woman, early 20s, modest uniform, slightly faded from hand-washing. A softness in her face, but exhaustion in her posture, as if life had pressed down on her shoulders one too many times. He had run background checks on every employee. She cleared everything, no debts, no vices, no criminal trail. Just poverty, and a reference from a shelter. But something about her was different, he felt it. A quiet resilience, like she carried the weight of storms but still chose to smile. Later that morning, Ethan left for a board meeting. Chauffeur driving, luxury leather scent drifting through the car. Halfway down a narrow street near the older part of town, something caught his eye. Maria, in the rain, holding umbrellas over two disabled elderly people in wheelchairs while spoon-feeding them hot food from containers she carried. In her worn bag, Ethan leaned forward. "Stop!" The driver froze. Ethan rolled down the tinted window just 2 inches. Maria didn't see him. Her hair plastered to her face, her uniform damp, shoes soaked. Yet she smiled, truly smiled, offering warmth to people the city ignored. "Eat slowly, Papa Joe," she whispered, voice trembling from cold. "The soup is still warm. I made extra today." One of the disabled men began to cry. "Why you do this, child? You barely eat yourself." Maria laughed softly. "Because someone once fed me when I was hungry too." Her words carried history. Hurt. Hope. Ethan's jaw clenched. His maid, his employee, out here feeding disabled strangers in the rain. With money she did not have. With food she likely saved from her own meals, and she never told anyone, never asked for praise, never expected anything. The billionaire felt something foreign. Guilt? Admiration? Confusion? His entire life he believed kindness was staged for cameras, charity was branding, generosity was a strategic investment. But she was real. The driver whispered, "Sir, should we continue?" Ethan didn't answer. He watched Maria wrap her scarf around a shivering elderly woman without hesitation. She gave away the only scarf she had. Thunder cracked. Rain poured harder. Her body shook, but she stayed, a poor maid with nothing, giving everything. A wave of memory hit Ethan, his mother before she died, giving their last slice of bread to a homeless vet on a freezing night. Kindness, as she told young Ethan, is the only wealth worth keeping. He had forgotten. Buried it under empires and ego. Ethan inhaled sharply. "Drive slowly." But he kept watching through the rain, thoughts spiraling. Why would she do this? What pain had shaped her? Who fed her when she was hungry? Who abandoned her? Who broke her life, and still she chose love? And most of all, what could he possibly do for a woman whose heart was already richer than his fortune? His phone buzzed, board members waiting. Important deal. Millions on the line. He canceled the meeting. For the first time in years, Ethan realized money couldn't measure everything. And today, the richest person on that street was not the billionaire in the Rolls-Royce. It was the poor maid holding umbrellas over forgotten souls. Ethan stepped out of the car, Rain hit him cold and sharp. Maria froze, eyes wide. Mr. Ward? She stuttered, trembling. I didn't think you... He simply stared at her, stunned by her humanity. She lowered her gaze, ashamed, as if kindness was a crime. I'm sorry, sir. I had to help them. He didn't speak. Couldn't, because in that moment he realized he hadn't discovered her kindness. Her kindness had discovered him, and what he would do next. Even his driver couldn't predict. For a long moment, rain was the only sound between them, cold drops falling against wealth and humility, soaking them both the same way. Ethan Ward, billionaire titan, stood speechless before a maid who suddenly felt larger than life. Maria clutched her hands together, nerves trembling through her fingers. Sir, I know I shouldn't be here during work hours. These people depend on me. She motioned toward the frail elderly pair, their wheelchairs rusted, blankets thin and soaked through. They have no one. Ethan's voice was low, almost unsure, as though he was trying to relearn speaking. You do this every day? Maria hesitated. She hated feeling seen, not because she feared punishment, but because true kindness was never meant to be witnessed. Not every day, she finally whispered. Only when I can. Only when I have something to give. The older woman in the wheelchair spoke, voice raspy. Young man, don't scold her. If not for this girl, we would starve. Maria shook her head quickly, embarrassed. Please don't say that. It's nothing. Nothing. To her, this was nothing. To him, it shattered everything he believed about humanity. A flash of memory returned. Ethan at 15, clutching his dying mother's hand in a hospital bed they could barely afford. Her voice trembling. Never step over those who have less, Ethan. Someday they will show you what real wealth looks like. He had forgotten. Until now. Maria's voice pulled him back. I'll return to the mansion right away, sir. I didn't mean to... No, he interrupted softly. The word stunned everyone. Even the rain seemed to pause. You don't have to apologize. I didn't know. Ethan looked at the elderly couple, their frail hands clutching warm containers like lifelines. Do you know her well? We know her heart, Papa Joe said. That's more than most people ever show. Maria's eyes filled with guilt and panic. Sir, please, I wasn't stealing time. I wake up early to prepare food before work. I don't use the household supplies. Ethan lifted a hand, gentle but firm. Maria, breathe. She froze. He exhaled slowly, feeling a tightness inside him loosen. You're not in trouble. Her lips parted in disbelief. She waited for the catch. Life had taught her there was always one. I'll call a car to take them somewhere warm, he offered. Maria's reaction wasn't relief. It was protective fear. No, please, they don't trust shelters and most places turn them away or steal from them. I only bring them food and clothes. I don't want anyone hurting them. Her conviction hit him like a punch. She wasn't just kind. She was brave, strategic, loyal, qualities he paid executives millions to fake. The elderly woman coughed, shivering. Maria immediately wrapped her arms around her, warming her with her own body heat. The billionaire's throat tightened. He turned to his driver. Get blankets, now! The man hurried. Maria looked up at Ethan, rain streaking down her cheeks like tears. Why are you doing this? You didn't have to step out of the car. He swallowed. Maybe I did. A small silence. The kind that changes things. Do you know why I hired you? He asked quietly. She blinked. Because you needed staff? No. His voice was gentle but unshakable. Because when you interviewed, you never looked around at my house. You never tried to measure the wealth. You looked at me. People like you, he paused, are rare. Her breath caught. She dropped her gaze again, humility stitched into every gesture she made. I don't know how to be anything else, sir. The driver returned with blankets. Ethan helped place them gently on the elderly couple. The billionaire's hands trembled, not from cold but from awakening. He turned back to Maria. Have you eaten today? She flinched, as if struck by a question she didn't expect to hurt so much. Not yet. You feed others before yourself? She didn't answer. She didn't need to. A car passed, honking. Reality resumed. Ethan felt a decision rising inside him, a feeling he hadn't experienced since before money complicated life. Purpose. Get in the car, he said softly. Maria's eyes widened. Sir, you're freezing. And we have something to talk about. Fear flickered in her. Kindness lived beside trauma. He could see it now. The instinct to obey, but the worry of punishment. Sir, I don't want to trouble you. You already changed my morning, Ethan said. His voice wasn't harsh, just true. Let me change the rest of your day. Maria hesitated. She looked at the people she fed. They nodded with warm smiles. Go, dear. You've done enough for us today. And so, dripping from rain, heart-pounding, uncertain of fate, Maria stepped into a billionaire's luxury car, something she never imagined she'd do willingly, because life had taught her wealth didn't always mean safety. Ethan followed, closing the door behind them. The air inside felt heavy with emotion and possibilities neither fully understood. The engine hummed. The city moved outside the windows. And between them, silence full of fate. Only one thought echoed in Ethan's mind now. If kindness is the greatest wealth, then this poor maid might be the richest person he'd ever meet, and he had only just begun to see who she really was. The Rolls-Royce glided through the city like a silent ghost, rain streaking across its windows. Inside, tension sat between Ethan and Maria, not discomfort, but a fragile unfamiliarity. Two worlds had collided in a way neither expected. Maria sat rigid, hands clasped tight in her lap, trying not to touch anything. The leather seats felt too soft, too expensive, like they might swallow her dignity if she leaned back. She'd cleaned similar cars in the mansion, but sitting in one, it felt like trespassing into a life she was never meant to touch. Ethan watched her quietly. The calm confidence he wore in boardrooms softened into something human, something searching. You look worried, he said gently. She forced a polite smile. I just don't understand why I'm here, sir. Men like you don't usually. She stopped herself. He raised an eyebrow. Don't usually what? Don't usually notice people like me, she whispered. Those words hit him harder than any business loss ever could. He had spent years buried in numbers, stock prices, acquisitions, yet in this moment he felt small, shrinking under a truth so simple and painful that even his wealth couldn't shield him. Maybe that's the problem, he murmured. Maybe I've been looking at the wrong people. Maria lowered her eyes, unsure how to respond. She wasn't used to being seen. Not like this. Not with curiosity instead of pity. The car passed a bakery. The scent of warm bread drifted in when the window cracked slightly. Ethan noticed Maria inhale sharply, the hunger reflex she couldn't hide. When did you last eat? He asked again. She swallowed. Yesterday morning. He stared at her in disbelief. You could have asked the staff kitchen. I don't want charity, she interrupted softly, then instantly flinched. I mean, I don't want to be a burden. A burden, Ethan repeated, stunned. Maria, feeding strangers in the rain is charity. You are the last person who should feel ashamed of needing help. She didn't reply, but her fingers trembled. Silence stretched again, until Ethan leaned forward. Tell me why you do it. Maria blinked. Feed them? No, he said. Why you give when life hasn't given you anything back. Her eyes softened, filled with distant pain. Then, slowly, she spoke. When I was 14, my dad left. My mom worked 3 jobs to keep us alive. We had nights with nothing but water and prayers. And there was this woman from our street, Mrs. Carter. Maria's voice thickened with emotion. She was broke too, but whenever she cooked, she brought us a plate. She said, we survive by holding each other up. After my mom got sick and passed, Mrs. Carter let me sleep on her couch until I could work. When she died from a stroke 3 years ago, I promised myself I would be her for someone else. A single tear escaped her, quickly wiped away. Ethan's chest tightened. He had grown up chasing power because he feared being powerless again. She had grown up powerless and chose to give power to others. What about your father? He asked quietly. Maria looked away. Rain blurred the city lights outside, turning them into ghostly streaks. He started another family, she whispered. Never looked back. Ethan felt anger he hadn't expected. For a woman who still loved the world after being abandoned by it. Do you ever hate him? Ethan asked. She shook her head. Hate only feeds emptiness. I'd rather feed people. Ethan stared at her, not like an employer, not like a billionaire, but like a man witnessing something sacred. The car slowed. His driver glanced back. Sir, where to? Ethan's answer surprised even him. Home. Maria's head snapped up. Sir? I canceled my meetings. But your business. Some moments matter more than money. Maria didn't understand a life where someone could say that. She had never had the luxury to choose meaning over survival. When they arrived at the mansion, thunder rolled across the sky. Ethan stepped out first and offered his hand. She hesitated, then took it. Her calloused palm contrasted his polished one, but it grounded him in a way numbers never did. Inside, warmth washed over them. Soft lighting, marble floors, silence. Maria instinctively moved toward the service corridor. Not there, Ethan said softly. She froze. Sir, today you don't walk the staff hallway. You walk where I walk. Her breath hitched. I don't belong in the main area. He stepped closer, not intimidating, but firm. Maria, kindness belongs everywhere. She swallowed hard. It felt wrong. Stepping onto the polished marble meant for a life she cleaned but didn't live in. They stopped by the fireplace. Flames flickered, warm and golden. Ethan motioned to sit. She hesitated, then slowly sat on the edge of the couch like it might shatter under her. He sat across from her. Why didn't you ever tell me you were struggling? He asked. Maria's eyes met his, and in them he saw a lifetime of swallowing pain to survive. Because dignity matters more than comfort, she whispered. And I didn't want you to think I work for you because I need saving. He exhaled deeply. What if someone wants to help not because you're weak, but because they finally learned what strength looks like? Maria looked at him, startled by the sincerity in his voice. Ethan leaned forward. You showed me something today I forgot existed. Pure kindness. And you didn't do it for praise. You did it because it's who you are. She looked down, cheeks flushing. People don't usually see me that way. I see you, he said. A quiet beat of truth hung in the air. But before warmth could settle, a storm brewed. Maria flinched as her phone buzzed violently. 3 missed calls, then a message. I know where you work now. You can't run forever. Her face drained of color. Her hand shook. Ethan noticed instantly. Maria, what's wrong? She tried to hide the screen, but he gently stopped her hand. Fear filled her eyes. Real fear. Not hunger, not poverty. Something darker. A secret. A past she never escaped. And in that moment, Ethan realized her kindness wasn't just a choice. It was armor. And someone out there was trying to break it. Maria's breath hitched. Her phone trembled in her hand. The rain outside beat harder against the windows as if the world sensed her fear. Ethan leaned forward, voice calm but sharp with concern. Maria, who is that? She swallowed hard, her throat tight. It's nothing, sir. Just someone from my past. He didn't blink. People from the past don't send threats unless they think they still own part of your future. His tone grew firm. Tell me. Maria stared down, hugging her arms around herself. For the first time since he'd known her, she looked small, like someone cornered by memories she didn't want to face. My father, she whispered. Ethan froze. The one who left you? She nodded. Pain flickered across her face like reopening an old wound she'd stitched closed herself. He found out I work here. He wants money. He says I owe him for raising me. She laughed bitterly, but tears slid down her cheeks. He didn't raise me. He abandoned me. Ethan's chest burned with anger. Maria wiped her tears quickly, ashamed of breaking down. I'm sorry, she said softly. I shouldn't be crying in your home. I shouldn't be. You're safe here, Ethan interrupted. And you don't apologize for surviving. Maria blinked at him, stunned by the gentleness in his voice. He leaned forward. Where has he been all these years? Drinking, gambling, getting arrested. Shame coated her voice. Whenever he loses money, he finds me. I change jobs, I move homes, but he always finds me eventually. Her voice cracked. He uses my guilt. I keep thinking maybe one day he'll be better. That maybe if I just help a little, he'll stop hurting himself. But he never changes, and I'm tired. The rawness of her confession struck Ethan. This woman who fed strangers in the rain, spent her nights fighting demons the world never saw. She looked up at him with pleading eyes. Please don't fire me. I swear I don't bring trouble on purpose. I just fire you? Ethan whispered. Maria, I'm thinking about protecting you. Her eyes widened. Nobody had ever said that to her. Not as a promise. Not as truth. He stood and reached for his phone. I can hire security lawyers. No! She shot up, panic flooding her face. Please, I don't want police. I don't want him hurt. I just want him to leave me alone. Ethan stared at her. This fragile, fierce soul who cared even for the man who damaged her life. The world did not deserve her heart. You deserve peace, he said quietly. She shook her head slowly. People like me don't get peace. We just try to make life kinder before we leave it. Ethan stepped closer, something igniting in him. People like you deserve the world. And I intend to prove it, Maria froze. What do you mean? He took a breath, steady, intentional. Today you showed me what real wealth is, and I've spent years collecting the wrong kind. His voice thickened. I can buy buildings, but I can't buy what you carry inside you. Maria's lips parted, trembling. She didn't know how to hold those words. She didn't know her heart could feel full and terrified at the same time. He continued softly. I once forgot what it meant to be human. Today you reminded me. Silence held them, warm, electric, honest. Then Ethan reached into his pocket and placed something on the table. A set of keys, a folder, a card. Maria stared, confused. What is this? Your future, Ethan said simply. A home. A full scholarship to finish your education. A funded foundation for feeding and sheltering disabled and homeless individuals. And a personal account with enough money for you to never fear being powerless again. Her breath stopped. She shook her head violently. No, I can't take this. Sir, I can't. Ethan stepped closer, voice breaking slightly. Maria, do you really think this is charity? She froze. This isn't charity. This is reward. This is gratitude. This is the world finally giving back to someone who gives without asking. Maria's tears overflowed, silent but heavy, trembling down her cheeks. No one has ever done anything like this for me, she whispered. That's because they mistook humility for worthlessness, Ethan replied. But I see you. He hesitated, then added softly, and I need you to believe you deserve this. She covered her face, sobbing quietly, years of swallowed pain pouring out. Ethan didn't touch her. He simply stood there, allowing her space to feel seen for the first time in her life. Minutes passed. Rain softened. The storm outside eased as the storm inside her heart loosened. Finally, she lowered her hands. I don't know how to repay you. You already did, he said. You reminded me of who my mother wanted me to be. You gave me back my humanity. Maria looked at him, hope flickering like a candle returning after darkness. What happens now? She whispered. Ethan smiled gently, an expression rare on his face. Now? We build something good, together. She inhaled shakily. And my father? Ethan's smile faded to something resolute. He will never threaten your life again. Not while I'm breathing. Maria closed her eyes in relief, and when she opened them, the world felt new, softer, safer. Not because she was rescued, but because, for the first time, someone powerful chose to stand beside her instead of above her. And what came next for her kindness truly did shock everyone, especially Maria herself. From that day forward, the city would speak her name with reverence, the maid whose heart changed a billionaire, and changed countless lives after, because true riches aren't measured in bank accounts but in souls we lift along the way. And Maria had lifted the world, one forgotten person at a time.